Hello and welcome to episode 267, the end of season review of the 77 Club. Harry, start with the socials.
The Wolves 77 Club on Facebook and Instagram, at 77 Club Podcast on Twitter. We're on Spotify, Apple, all the good stuff. Please rate us if you can.
Jack Williams is here.
Good evening, chaps.
Harry, I believe Jurgen Klopp was leaving Liverpool Football Club at the weekend. There was a little bit of fanfare about it. Actually, after the game, I think it was still going on an hour and a half later, and there was no one in the press conference to talk to Gary O'Neill. So I think possibly asking a question itself. But let's start with the beginning of the game. I think it started out pretty even, didn't it? But it was pretty early on where we just had our head in our hands again. Another VAR decision going against Wolves and just losing interest.
Yeah, I mean, the team, when it come out, I was like, oh, nice to see Bellegarde starting, nice to see Neto on the bench. As you mentioned, game starts, we're doing okay. Obviously, the whole narrative's around the Klopp loving, which you'd expect, nothing for us to play for. And yeah, as soon as that Semedo red happens, we were just saying, weren't we, before we come on, I was watching it with my dad, had the kids and that, so I kind of didn't really pay much attention for the rest of the game. Yeah, that was it really. It's a bit damp squid, wasn't it? It was more about the aftermath of Gary O'Neill's press conference. But to be fair, from what I hear and from the bits I remember watching, we actually did okay when we went down to 10 men. Like, it could have been a cricket score, couldn't it? When you go down to 10 men that early against Liverpool on their big day saying goodbye to Klopp. So, you know, we did a bit better than expected. And as I say, it's good to see Neto come on, get him in the window for our funds for in the summer.
Jack at 8 Nori was doing his usual trickery, looking fairly decent. I think on another day, Hwang probably could have ended up with a hat trick if you're fair to him.
Yeah, I think overall the guys did pretty well. Really, they did what they could given the circumstances. It's just a shame, really, because what could have been, you know, quite an open and entertaining game to end the season. Granted, obviously Liverpool wanting to win because of being Klopp's last game, and us just wanted to get a bit of pride back and stop, you know, having a poor run at the end of the season, really, 1 win in 10, just to go out on a little bit of a high with a decent performance. And, you know, as soon as we go down to 10, it just the wind went out of our sails, really. And I don't just mean from the players, but just from like us watching it. It was just sort of just a sigh of what's the point? And to go into the sending off a little bit, like, the first thing I'd like to say is it's not a great tackle. Like Semedo, it's not a good tackle at all. Fair enough. But my issue with it, there's probably two things I have the issue with. And the first one is that, granted, the contact initially is quite high on his leg, but the actual velocity of that impact actually goes down to his foot. He doesn't like hit into the top of his leg with any force. It goes down the leg, which, you know, still not great. And I think the impact is on his foot. And the second problem I have is that I just can't see that being given the other way. I think it would have gone with the on-field decision if it had been Mo Salah or, you know, whoever it might be from Liverpool with a red shirt on for Klopp's big last day out. The exact reverse thing happened. They'd have gone with the referee's call. And like, when the commentators, and when, like, me personally, I'm saying, you know, it's not a good tackle, but I don't think it's quite a red. And everyone seems to be saying that on the commentary. And then as soon as it goes to VAR, and they just show him a freeze frame of the freeze frame of it being hitting the top part of his leg rather than, you know, his foot. And that's what they show him in slow motion. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, letter of the law, it's a send it off. But I just don't think it would be given the other way around. And you won't change my mind about that, particularly when we're playing at a ground where, in recent memory, we got a goal given for offside, and when we said why, they were like, oh, sorry, the camera ain't working, so we'll just presume it's offside. So, you know, we've seen it, and we've seen it numerous times, and I just don't buy it, really. And that's the thing. Consistency and trusting these referees to not have some sort of bias or unconscious bias. I just don't have it. But, you know, I think that, you know, they dug in quite well, really. And we did still create the odd opportunity, even when down to 10 men under difficult conditions. And it could have been an absolute battering, and it wasn't. So, you know, fair enough. It's just a shame, really, because it's just been the end of the season as a whole has been really disappointing. I think it's not quite what Gary O'Neill deserves. But, you know, other people could look at it and say, we were pushing for Europe, and then 1 win in 10 just isn't good enough, and we bottled an FA Cup semi-final. So I see it from both sides.
Yeah. Harry, what do you think? I mean, Paul in the comments and a couple of others are sort of saying that it always looks worse in slow motion. And I think if you go over to the monitor, you should see it in real time, because otherwise you are re-reffing the game, and we want to not do that. And everybody, I think, is on board with not re-reffing the game. You want to see what you may have missed, not sort of saying you've missed something, let's slow it down.
Yeah, but like they say in the comments, it wasn't clear and obvious. The referee deemed it a yellow. I believe it was. And when you watch it in real time, there's no intent or malice from Semedo. It's a clumsy tackle. It's a nasty tackle. Don't get me wrong. But I instantly thought yellow. There was a lot of Liverpool fans on the video I did right after the game saying I was deluded and that. And maybe would I be saying that to Liverpool fans if he's the way around? Probably. I don't know. But yeah, I think it's because of all the news that have come out not long before the game about Wolves leading the way in proposing that VAR gets scrapped. I just kind of thought this example is an example why they get involved way too much. And Gary O'Neill put it really well. I've seen some quotes from him saying, yeah, like we've said, he was brought in to stop clear and obvious errors, and they're getting involved too much. And that was an example. Like you say, it's not so much about arguing whether it's a red or a yellow. It's borderline, isn't it? It's why change the on-field decision, because it wasn't a howler, was it, really? But there we go. We can argue till we're blue in the face. It was given, and we went on to lose. And then you was on about Jack. He was on about the goal line technology. Well, the offside cameras not working in that cup game. They were bloody working for that Doherty goal, weren't they? To check if he was offside. They were working sharp as a the goal. And I thought he was on at first, and then obviously, I think his nipple was offside. But
remember though, they put the flag up, didn't they, as well? They put the flag up straight away.
So you can handle that, can't you?
It wasn't even the case.
I can handle that.
Yeah, but I know that they asked if it's close, they're instructed to keep the flag down. It was close, but they were like, no, that'll do. Can't ruin the party today. So as soon as that ref even had a whisper in his ear about that, given the circumstances, and the thing that annoyed me as well, obviously I didn't go in the end. I got rid of my ticket, but I watched it on the telly. Just all the build-up and all the commentary, like you wouldn't even know that we were playing. Like there was just nothing said about us. It was just like Jurgen Klopp, here's Klopp. Oh, here's Klopp walking out. Oh, everyone's going to cry. Everyone's singing about Klopp. Oh, the Anfield, they're so great. They were singing about Klopp for the last 15 minutes. I'm like, that's it, really. It's like it didn't fit the narrative, did it? They wanted the fact it's even on Sky Sports was a joke. Like it's a nothing game on paper compared to some of the other picks they had. So the whole thing about it just wound me up. And I said after 5 minutes, I think, on text to you lot, there was a few decisions in the first few minutes where there was like a little pullback or a little niggle, and the ref weren't interested because it would have given us a foul or a free kick. And from that point on, I said, we ain't getting anything today. And, I was right. So
I know the stats sort of skew it a little bit, especially with 10 men. But I mean, Liverpool 14 shots on target to Wolves 3. They did block 10 though, which I was quite surprised about. But the one that really got me was 71 Liverpool touches in the Wolves box. I mean, that's just incredible, isn't it? But the goalkeeper saves. Sarr saved 11. So I mean, it could well have been a cricket score if he hadn't been on form, and he played extremely well. And you talk about the Jurgen Klopp loving, and the whole dynamic around it and what everybody was saying, because of course he now joins the list of Antonio Conte, Carlo Ancelotti, Claudio Ranieri, Kenny Dalglish, Manuel Pellegrini and Roberto Mancini in winning one Premier League title, it being Klopp versus Pep, the biggest showdown in Premier League history, and it finished Pep 6, Klopp 1. So we love that, and we love the Premier League for it. Harry, let's move on to our end of season review of our pre-season predictions. Got them, I think, written down. If you could go through that list, and we'll see how close everybody got, because I think we went through this probably about 12 episodes ago. So it's getting over 3 months ago when we went through this last time.
It was only me and you, wasn't it?
Yeah. However, I think everything changed really probably around that time. So we were probably joking, thinking, we've undersold ourselves a little bit here, but I think we may look like geniuses.
Yeah, some of them. There's some, obviously, you remember when we last spoke, there is some that are way out there. And I did mention last time how negative we were on that podcast, but to put it into context, I think we did it. Was it just as Lopetegui left, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Do you remember? We did the podcast and we were all pretty gutted, and O'Neill was only rumoured to come in at the time. So but we kind of knew he was. But yeah, so going off that, puts into context of some of our picks. I'm just trying to defend myself really more than you two.
Well, you got
You'll see what's coming.
Yeah.
So yeah, our league predictions. So we ended up finishing where? 14th, was it?
14th,
yeah. Which
So
is
Sam,
bloody terrible considering where we were
yeah.
10 games ago.
Because
Considering
Like,
where we were.
it could have been 10th. However, Liverpool haven't lost a final game at home at the end of the season, so final league game since 1989, which is against Arsenal.
Wow.
So I mean, the odds are stacked against us, let's say. But
no,
So-
on the counter to that, Sam, is sorry to go back on Liverpool stats, but they said that no Liverpool manager has won their last game in charge since like 1927 or something. So Klopp's taken that record now.
hasn't.
Good
Oh
for him.
right.
Yeah. This I know all this now because obviously there was a 3-hour Liverpool
was a
absolute
documentary.
wank off on the.
If you were on
commentary,
Mastermind,
so-
you could do a Klopp. You'd have the Klopp subject, wouldn't you?
Yeah, everyone would. Sorry.
The league predictions are what we predicted. So Sam, you predicted 13th, so you were one off.
Oh.
Pretty good. Jack predicted 18th, so did a bit better than Jack's prediction. Bayliss went with 16th, and I went with 11th, which at one point a few weeks ago I thought that was going to be good, but as we just mentioned, we fell away. Player of the season picks.
Point to me. Thank you.
Yeah, I think Sam got closest there. Our player of the season picks. Sam went with João Gomez. Not too bad.
Good shout.
Probably, yeah, he weren't too far out with the contention, was he really? Jack, you went with Dawson.
I mean,
Didn't
could
play.
have been
He got injured
without the
towards end.
injuries. Yeah.
Bayliss went for Fabio Silva.
Wow.
Says it all.
You did all right for Rangers. Not. And I went for someone who I don't know if I know how to read it out. 'Cause I don't know if I wrote it down properly. It's someone called Nunes. Mateus Nunes. But I'm not sure. I don't know if that was a
by the
mistake.
time that podcast was released. Then that's another point.
Yeah,
for
to
me.
be fair, he weren't even linked with City when we did this, so just to back myself up. But, he did all right on the bench for City, didn't he? So I went far off. Right then. Our dark horses of the season.
Ooh.
This is bad. Sam went with Hodge. He ended up going out on loan, didn't he?
He did, yeah. No, shank that.
Jackie went with 8 Nori. That's a great shout because
That's
he was so out of favour at the beginning of the season. He ended up being a bit of a genius. So that's probably the pick of the four of us. I went with Pedence.
Tense.
He went. Bayliss went with Doherty. Doc.
He's been okay, isn't he? He's been a bit of a mixed bag, hasn't he?
I'm going to take an executive decision and give that to Jack for 8 Nori, I think.
Yeah, our FA Cup predictions. We all said we'd go out the League Cup first round, which was it the round after? We beat Blackpool, didn't we? And
yes.
lost to Ipswich. FA Cup predictions. Sam said we'd lose in the 4th round. Jack said we'd go out in the 3rd round. Bailey said 3rd round. I don't know why I said this, considering when we did the podcast, but I said we'd get to the semi-final. So if somehow I've won that round, but I think I said that tongue-in-cheek.
I'll give
We
that
got to the quarters. Top goal scorers. Sam went with Fabio Silva.
Oh, brilliant.
He got 1 goal in the League Cup, I think, so not far off.
Yeah.
Jack went with Kalajic.
Christ.
He got a few late winners.
Predictions haven't finished the fucking season.
Bayliss went with Fabio Silva.
Bloody hell.
And
How bad are
Harry
we?
went with... I've had a good one here. I went with Cunha, and I think he was top goal scorer, wasn't he?
Very good.
Cunha or Hang, wasn't it? Yeah.
He got 14. Top assists. So it actually finished on Neto and Sarabia joint on 10, I think. Top assists. Sam, you went with Cunha for top assists. Jack went with Neto, so Jack got it right. Bayliss went with Sarabia, so Sarabia also got it right. And I went for Hwang Yi-chan. So we didn't do too bad on assists.
Hang on a minute.
We did have...
just hang on a minute. So how much grief Sarabia's been getting, and he's put 10 assists on the board.
Yeah.
Makes
True.
you think.
But he was our only main man up there, wasn't he? For
I've got.
But Neto is injured for
7
so long.
assists in the league.
Oh, was it 11?
7.
But in all
Is it all
competitions,
competitions
it's
we're
10.
Oh, in all competitions. Sorry, yeah.
So he got like 3 or 4 against Blackpool, didn't he? He had like a
Yeah.
worldie that game.
Yeah.
Against Blackpool. We had a few controversial opinions we threw out there. Just don't know why. Sam just said he thinks Bentley's better than Jose Sarr. I don't know, he's very well, hasn't it? Even though he come in, what game was it? Palace, where they just randomly started him recently?
He did.
He was sick, wasn't he? He was poorly, I think.
That was it.
So
Jack said, famously, you probably remember this one. Jack said that Gary O'Neill will be sacked after Luton away, which when we drew, if you remember.
It didn't look great at that
far
time.
off.
Did it?
We weren't far off because we lost to Ipswich, didn't we, on the Tuesday? So he nearly left. Bailey said, well, I think because we were all annoyed with Jeff Shee, he just said, we'll find Jeff Shee hung by his underpants. I don't know what that means. Harry, I said O'Neill will get manager of the season.
You know what? He could have done if we'd have kicked on. Wouldn't have been far off.
That was it for our predictions. So some absolute howlers, but we got a few. But it's so hard to predict, isn't it?
I'll give you that, Harry. Very good. With some of these stats, and to be fair, Dan Bentley, 5 appearances, only conceded 7. 35 for Jose Sarr, conceded 58. Jack's a maths man. I'll leave that one with you. The really interesting one, and I know we talk about Craig Dawson and how much of an impact he has and how much of a miss he has been. He has 5 clean sheets, the same amount as Max Kilman, which just says it all, doesn't it? No clean sheets, I don't think, for Santi Bueno, 12 appearances in the Premier League. 4 for Totti Gomez, and obviously when he was stood next to Craig Dawson. So it just shows what a miss he's been. But also the amazing one is Pedro Neto, really. 20 appearances, 2 goals, 9 assists, 36 shots. And Harry made such a big difference, I thought. And we were having shots on target and getting into the final third like we had before against Liverpool. It just shows how injuries have killed the season.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, Neto was absolutely flying, wasn't he, before his injury? And Cunha and Hwang. And I know there's that stat, wasn't it? They played 1 game together in like October. And one of them was always injured. One of them was they went to AFCON, didn't they? And the Asia Cup and whatever.
Oh, gosh.
But yeah, what could have been? But we've mentioned we've been unlucky with injuries. But Neto, man, like, he was on fire, wasn't he? That City game when he made that run. Luton away, actually. He's caught that equaliser on his own. As we mentioned, Cunha, top goal scorer. What could have been? Although the squad was small, at the same time, you have got to say we were pretty harshly done by with injuries to our front line.
He's such a great outball to have, though, Neto. That's the thing, because like if you've got a threat there, just make him stand up on the halfway line, and then as soon as you turn the ball over, you've got that sort of injection of pace and fear they put into the other defenders, which, you know, no disrespect, it's just not the same when you've got like Sarabia or others up there in his place. So when everyone's fit, like. We've said this quite a lot, and when everyone is fully fighting fit, our starting 11 is really good. Like, it's top half in it. It's top half Premier League, but we just haven't got the depth to compete with the way that not just like, you know, the big top teams do, but, you know, the likes of like Aston Villas and Newcastle's. So that's if we want to kick on to the next level. And I know that we think just because we did it under Nuno with a small squad, we got a few 7th place finishes. Like, I don't think it's that easy to do it again because there's more competition now. It keeps getting better and better. And if you want to kick on to that next level and really want to be an established top half Premier League team, you can't do it with 14 first team outfield players. You know, you need more than that. And that's the thing we need to try and address in the summer.
When was it?
James has put one was the last clean sheet. I think it was Luton, wasn't it? Was it?
No,
Luton?
that was 2-1.
Now he won 2-1. That's a great question if someone can remember.
Sheffield United.
It is. It does coincides with. It is the Dawson thing. I remember when Dawson got injured, and then they were saying he's got like a groin problem and he's got to have groin surgery. I did think to myself, I think we'll be okay with Santi Bueno, but you just read out the stat there. We never got a clean sheet of him in the team. So yeah, although I think he is decent, it is the big factor of Dawson being a leader, I think, and steadying the ship. And like Jack's mentioned a few weeks ago, Kilman struggled, and he has struggled without Dawson being there. And I've seen him liking a few posts on Instagram, actually, in his comments of people saying ignore the haters and all that. So I think the comments might be getting to him a little bit. And what Deborah's put here about Kilman needs Dawson, Wolves need a captain. I've said from day one, I mean, I've said so many times in this podcast, I personally don't think Kilman should be captain. I don't think it doesn't mean that much, but that's just not who he is. It's just that he's not that type of personality, in my opinion. I'd rather it be someone like Lamina, Gomez, or even Cunha, in my opinion. But take that bit of pressure off him, because I think it does put a bit of pressure on his shoulders. And I'd even have it as Dawson if he wanted to be the captain. I know he's getting on a bit now, but yeah, if Dawson can come back from this surgery next year, and still be the same player, because obviously he is getting on. I think Kilman will have a much better season if he can last the whole season with him.
Last clean sheet I've
Completely
just checked. It was the
Sheffield
cup victory against Brighton in the FA Cup.
Ah, the Wednesday. Yeah, we defended for our
1-0
lives.
midweek game in February.
Wow.
Well, and then it was
And-
Sheffield United before that, was it?
That was in the league. Yeah, that was the last league
Yeah.
one, was Sheffield United.
We defended well that day, to be fair, against Brighton, because they did absolutely batter us. They had the ball the whole game. I remember that one. Wow.
50 goals this season, which is pretty unheard of for us. I mean, things to get excited about. It's our best return since the 1920 season, and obviously some of that was a pandemic. Terrible time. There were goals actually coming from the middle of the park, which we're not really used to. I mean, the thing, 4 goals from Lamina, 4 from Sarabia. This is all league, by the way. João Gomez getting 2 from Bellegarde. And the thing that surprised me was Tommy Doyle, actually. 26 appearances, no goals, no assists, and only 1 big chance created. But it shows the work he does off the ball and in the build-up to those chances. But, yeah, thought it was very, very interesting.
No, yeah. So just on that, Sam, that's been the biggest thing for me under Gary O'Neill, is just how I think we've just gone on how bad we've been defensively towards the end of the season. But under him, it has been a lot more fun to watch and a lot more effective going forward when we've had most of our players available. That's been the big difference for me under the likes of Nuno and Lopetegui and even Bruno Lage. Even though in that first few games under Bruno Lage, if you remember, we went all out attack and lost 1-0 every game. But yeah, O'Neill is definitely playing the same formation as well, 5 at the back. He has got them playing that a bit more attacking, and that's why we've scored the most goals ever in the top flight, is it, I think, this season?
It's a couple of... not in the top flight, I wouldn't have thought.
Oh, no, because the Nuno year with Jimenez and that would have been more.
Yeah, 51 in 1920. So
there we go,
Yeah. John Percy's been tweeting. We always get worried when we get a notification from him that something bad might happen. But he says Wolves to demand club record sale of £60 million for Pedro Neto, with Man City and Newcastle both interested. Wolves under no pressure to raise money to pass profit sustainability rules this summer, but a major sale will help Gary O'Neill build his squad. 60 million, Harry? You'd say yes, wouldn't you?
I think so, because of his injuries. But he is only, mid-20s, got quite a bit of length left on his deal. As you've mentioned, if his assist record is incredible, considering how long he was injured for. But we knew it was coming. I think this article, pretty much, we know he will be going. Hobbs come out in that interview on the Wolves official podcast and said, it's either him or Gomez or Aït-Nouri. We've got to sell to bolster that squad. We don't have to sell, but if we want to add numbers, we've got to really to raise the funds. And for me, although we've just banged on about how much we'll miss him, which we will, obviously, he's an incredible player. We have got other players in those positions that are decent, aren't they? Wang, Cunha, even Aït-Nouri if you put him up there. But will we keep Aït-Nouri? I don't know. I think Bellegarde will improve a lot and come on as the years go by as well. I do like Bellegarde, although I don't think he's fully shown what he can do yet. But 60 million, I've seen online people saying if Anthony and that are in the 80 million region, surely you can be getting that for Neto. But as I mentioned, it's the injury thing, so I think around 60 I'd be happy with personally.
Jack, what do you reckon?
I think if that offer is genuinely on the table, we would have to consider it. And I don't want Neto to go. I'd like him to stay, but it is just a luxury of a player when his injury record has been so poor this season. I mean, he's pulled up 2 times with the same injury. It's a worry, and it must be a concern for him. But especially when we're dealing with a small squad, we need players that we can rely on a bit more, I think. So I would entertain the offer of 60 million just because of his injury record. If he'd been fit all season, I'd want 85 plus, to be brutally honest with you. But at the same time, I think because of this, he will stay, because I can't see any clubs coming in and paying that. because it's just a massive risk because he could be out for half the season after 2 games or whatever it might be. And it doesn't seem like the sort of transfer for the likes of City. And he's saying Newcastle, but haven't they got a financial fair play worries themselves now after
Not if they
spending
change
so
the
much?
rules.
Oh, okay. That's how it works, isn't it? Yeah. I keep forgetting that.
Stephen says £60 million for Neto would be better than selling Gomez. I agree with that. Paul says the thing is, if he went to a top club like City, he wouldn't be used every minute like he has with us due to his injuries.
True.
He'd be behind Jack Grealish, I imagine. Deborah
Like
says, do you
Nunes.
think we could ditch Gary O'Neill and get Moyes in? I'm not sure about that. James says, or
Nah.
Pochettino. Well,
just left Chelsea, hasn't he? Yeah.
yeah, so that's another tweet. Actually, the next one on John Percy's X feed. Are you surprised Pochettino's left? And how much rustling can you hear from Julian Lopetegui's study as he's looking at the cooling down period on his contract at West Ham, thinking, "Oh, I could have gone to Stamford Bridge."
I am surprised because Chelsea have had a really good end to the season, haven't they? They've had a poor season
into Europe,
overall.
Yeah.
I mean, we did the double over and we were ahead of them. It seemed like the whole of the season, and yeah, they've had a really strong end. But they should with the money they've spent and the wages they pay out. But it hasn't been. I mean, it hasn't been a great match, has it? Him at Chelsea, obviously with his Spurs history as well. I don't think the Chelsea fans will be too concerned. Although I do think, from what I've seen, some Chelsea fans did like him. But yeah, Lopetegui probably wish he waited now.
And talking about bad characters, O'Neill came out after the Liverpool game and said that it's it's a real positive to be able to play for Wolves, and it's an honour to pull on the shirt. And only players that want to do just that deserve to be here. He doesn't want people that don't fall into that category. And I think it was a nod probably to people like me. And a couple of us actually that go, why did he get rid of Sasha? Why did he get rid of Fabio? Why did he get rid of Podence? And I think he's come out, Harry, and said, I've listened to your podcast and this is what I think.
Yeah, well, I think mainly it was aimed at Podence and Fabio Silva because we've seen that the way Fabio Silva's been at Rangers has been a disgrace, I think. The way he's so arrogant and he's so, you know what I mean? He exactly proved how good he thinks he is, has he? I think he's aimed at Podence, as we know. He was a bit of a nuisance just as Gary O'Neill come in, and obviously he quickly went. Don't know about Kalajic. He seemed like a nice bloke from watching that documentary of his injury and that. But I think it is good for him just to want players who want to be here, and obviously have players that have got a good attitude. Obviously Nunes refusing to train before he went to City, obviously a bit of a knob. Guedes didn't seem like the most, didn't like it here. There was a few times that he didn't come over and clap the fans, I remember, when he was playing at times last season. So it was a good little speech that from O'Neill, to be fair. I watched that and I did think, I hope you're here next year. It's a great attitude to have. And if we can sell the likes of Fabio, Podence, who, I don't know, we've got a few others out on loan, haven't we? And obviously we've mentioned Neto and that. And he can then bring in people who he thinks are good players. And I'm sure they'll screen them and make sure they're good people too. Because you see the behind the scenes footage of some of our players and that in training, the little clips they put out, they all do seem to get on the main core of our squad. They're always having a laugh. Like, I think Cunha's brilliant. He's such a nice bloke, it seems like, as he comes across. And they all get on. So if we can get more players like that in, that'd be good going forward. But it's easier said than done, isn't it, to find people who are good and also good people.
Team spirit plays a massive part, doesn't it, Jack? And I think as we get as that area of the league that Wolves are part of and above obviously gets more and more competitive, it's these little differences that make a big difference come the end of the season. I mean, you look at the teams that have excelled and done well, and done things that they have either not ever done before, like a Brighton, or have not done for a very, very long time, something like Villa. You look at the squads and how they interact with each other and what they're like as a team, and you think actually it does make a massive difference. And you don't want those distractions or those players in the dressing room, because even if you've just got one negative player, they're talking to someone and being negative. So it's almost negativity by osmosis, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I agree with all that. It's just, I was trying to think then, do we have a problem sometimes with players not settling as much as like other clubs do? Because there's a few examples there, like Kalajic, Guedes, where, we've been really excited when they came in and then it just hasn't worked out and they've immediately wanted to go back. And I'm sort of thinking, did the the Bruno Lage or the Lopetegui eras not particularly help with that. And I think that's, a possibility. But then at the same time, I'm also sort of thinking, if I was dragged out of, somewhere nice in Portugal and ended up in Wolverhampton, maybe I wouldn't be best pleased with it either. I don't know. But
that's the thing. I think it's got a point though, isn't it? Because, and I'm not talking Wolverhampton down at all, but in terms of a nightlife and things to do, and I would take the piss out of Newcastle, but if you compare it to a Liverpool or a Manchester or a London, it is such a big difference to the lifestyle of your family as well. Because if you bring in the wives and the girlfriends and they want to go Trafford Centre if you're at City or United and do some shopping compared to the Manda Centre, it's a little bit different to get settled, isn't it? Because you could be having
down the road, Sam. We've got the ball ring in Brum. Let's go there. Live near Birmingham, drive in, be all right.
Yeah,
someone just said about I forgot about Chiquinha as well. Chiquinha to come back, Lembakisa. So we've got a few little gems to come back. I like Chiquinha, so you just see how he does.
Yeah, I think Mascara as well will be a potential. Solve some sort of centre back crisis, but I think it just comes back to the Premier League experience thing, because Dawson is the first one that we've had in this generation of Wolves fan, as in not the Mick McCarthy era, that has really had any Premier League experience at centre back outside of Wolves, which is just incredible.
And he came because he wanted to be in Wolverhampton.
He did. Yeah, his family live up here.
That puts my theory to bed. But obviously it is difficult for players, particularly if they've never played really in a different country, to come over and adjust. But look at Gomez and look at Cunha, man. Like, they've taken it ducks to water, haven't they? So it just depends.
Just on, so we are linked. Sorry if I'm bringing up something you were gonna bring up, Sam, but we're linked with Che Adams on a free, aren't we? Is he originally from the Midlands, or am I making that up? Where was he before he went to? He is, isn't he? Is he? I could be making that up, so my point might be invalid. But yeah, that's what made me think of the point. But yeah, he'd be a good sign on a free. I think he seems like. Oh, there we go. So yeah, maybe it'd be a good move for him to be closer to family, I guess. But yeah, I'd take Che Adams on a free. We've been linked with him every window, haven't we? So that's what made me think.
Is that not going to be dependent on whether Southampton win the playoffs? Like, no,
he's a free agent, so
it's a free agent.
Yeah, a negotiation to be had, I suppose. Stephen says, this is quite an interesting one because I disagree with it completely. I'd cash in on Semedo.
And he got a year left on his deal. How old are you now? 32. I want to keep him. He's been our he won Player of the Season. I think it's his best season he's had for us. We're one of our most consistent players. But will they look at it and think 1 year left on his deal, not getting any younger, the wrong side of 30? They got offered a decent fee. Would they sell him? I don't know. But I want to keep him for what it's worth. But
I suppose is he £5 million better than Ryan Giles? So
it's a great question. It's a great question. We'll never know the answer.
That comment's never left her, has it? Oh God.
Oh dear, it's funny. The only thing with Semedo, I think, is his pace wanes in his. I'm not going to call it later years if he is 32, but I think he did get rinsed against Liverpool. But I think most people do.
Stamped on him though, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. If you can't beat them, join them, and it's the other way around. The USA Tour, I'm going to call it a tour. I mean, it's 2 games. So it's over in the USA, and it's called the Stateside Cup Clash of Cities, July 31st, and at the Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium, and it is the strangest looking stadium I've ever seen. It looks like a music venue, so it looks a bit like, I don't know, like the NIA, so very much focused towards what looks like a stage, and then there's a football pitch in the middle of it. Very weird. West Ham is the opponents on that game. The cheapest ticket is, how did you guess?
Oh God,
$45.
Harry?
I'm going to go big for some reason. $120.
No, Jack was close. $35 for the cheapest. How much do you think the most expensive is?
$46.
The answer, of course, is $240. And then we play Palace in Jacksonville. And have I got those the wrong way around? Possibly.
There isn't much hype about this, is there? Do you like think that?
That one go
Well,
around.
I was thinking about this, and I think I know a few reasons for it. And number one, I've been really, really excited for Wolves to play in America for ages, but it kind of takes the spin off it when you're playing teams that you play anyway. So if you want to play different teams that you in pre-season, you don't want to end up playing teams. I know it's because the Premier League is massive over there, but we're going to play Newcastle and West Ham or whatever throughout the season. So it's not, if it was over there and Wolves are playing Juventus, you'd be like, oh, hang on, like, this is worth it. It's a bit different. So I think that's part of it.
Will Wolves fans be hesitant as well? Because remember when they booked the South Korea tour and then it just didn't
That was my
happen,
second point. That was going to be my point number 2. There you go. So it could just get cancelled at short notice. Like,
definitely. So sorry, it's Crystal Palace first, July the 31st, and then on July the 27th in Jacksonville, West Ham. Much more like a proper football stadium.
We'll be at Glastonbury, won't we?
What do you think? No.
That's the end of June.
June.
Oh, wrong one.
Cheapest ticket for the West Ham game?
$50.
$40.
$94. And the
Wow,
most
why is it so dear?
I don't know. I didn't set the prices, but the most expensive one is $190. So there you go. I don't know how many people are going to be going. I was looking at it now. It says it all really about the state of what every country in the world seems to be at the moment, but especially this one, is that there's an option to buy now and pay later on those tickets with PayPal, which I don't think I've ever seen before. For tickets for football tickets, is that a thing?
Like what, Klarna? I've not seen it. I've not seen it on Wolves tickets.
Paying free,
but season ticket pricing to come in. Jeff, she'll have an idea. It's not a grand a ticket if you pay for it in 4 installments of $250.
Well, that's the thing. But I mean, if you're paying for it in installments anyway over 6 months, then he's got a little bit of a problem in his hands.
Has this ever happened? Have they ever left it this late for season ticket renewals?
I had a look at this because I was starting to think about it, and the last one for last year was like the start of May, so they've left it.
Yeah,
late. Like
they know. What did we say on WhatsApp?
About it. Yeah,
they know the backlash is going to be huge because it will go up by about 10%. We know it will. And there's going to be absolute carnage when it gets released. 100%.
Well, will be. I mean, last season, I don't think we were at survival. Was survival secured by the time the early birds came out?
They must have just put them out after we survived, I reckon.
Yeah.
After we beat Palace 2-0 at home.
Possibly.
I can't remember. I think it was early May anyway, so it's at least 2 weeks later than it was last year already. These ones, so.
It's it is late, and then I know this season's only finished a couple of days ago.
Are you renewing?
Yeah, I thought so. What are you? If you don't, then I won't. I'm going by myself.
Sam, I'm not 100% either way at the moment. If they vote, can they wait until the VAR vote happens? If VAR's kept in, I might not.
From memory, that's on the 14th of June. So. Probably known Jeff Shee will be the 13th that you have to make a decision. Or do it the day after, and I don't know. So you're really considering not going? It's done that to you?
Yeah, not just. I think it's a bit of a mixture of everything, but the main thing is the VAR stuff. This season's been absolutely horrendous, hasn't it? I think the last straw for me was the Bournemouth one. The Bournemouth one when Cunha shrugged off that player. That one, I was just like, what is the point anymore?
Yeah.
Literally.
Although,
it's good the club have led the way, but is it a bit of a smokescreen by Jeff and that? But look, everyone, if we put up to a grand a ticket, we're trying to get rid of VAR for you.
I think they've got a genuine case.
It's the foreign fans, the tourist fans. I don't really like calling them that because I think it's a bit harsh, but because I have been to other countries and watch sports there, so but I was a tourist, so I think they would much rather sell a seat in the quadrant for 60 quid in the hope of somebody seeing Hwang than getting 27 to 30 quid a game over the 19.
This fits in with my theory because, again, I've been thinking about this a lot since this VAR announcement, and one of the things you noticed is ever since we put out that statement, all the client journalists and everybody was putting out things saying, oh yeah, the Premier League, they won't vote for it. They don't want to vote for it. Liverpool have said they're going to keep it. and all the comments are from the overseas and foreign fans, or in the main. Because on Fabrizio's tweet, I remember looking when he put the first thing out, and that's he gets so much interaction, doesn't he? And the top tweet was, it's not the technology, it's the refs, and with the Chelsea badge, you click on it, and the first thing you see is Chelsea fan from Belgium. So there's my theory there about this benefits like the people who watch it on telly a lot, and the people who don't mind it as much. The big clubs, I don't think will vote for it because they get a good deal out of it. I mean, look at the game just gone. And then long term, you're thinking for those clubs as well, if it does start getting to the point where season ticket holders have had enough and you're pushing out the old guard, you can sell those tickets match to match for more money. So then there's a conspiracy theory going around in my head. So if we make it really bad for the fans in the stadium, then we'll be able to turn over the tickets more and make more profit by selling them match to match, but 3 times the price potentially than you would for a season ticket for a fan who's been going for 50 years. So that's going to go around in my head now as a conspiracy theory.
But also, coming back on that though, we'd have to be doing well because we don't sell out matches, and we saw it.
Not us. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying the teams who are going to vote for it.
Okay.
So the big clubs, the ones who are always oversubscribed every match and could sell their stadium 3 times over, especially if you include the fans from Korea or Nigeria or North America or wherever. So we'll go in there and we'll say, no, we don't want this anymore. But I think there's a big, I'm not just going to say top clubs, but the well-established clubs with massive fan bases. So the classic big 6, maybe plus a couple of others these days. Like I can't see them voting for it.
Really interesting, actually, to see how that goes. I mean, like I said last week on the podcast, the 3 promoted sides, whoever they may be, out of Southampton and Leeds, along with Leicester and Ipswich, got there in the end. They'd be mad not to. I think they would just be crazy not to, because every decision or 50-50 is going to go against them anyway. And
just a question on that, Sam. When's the cut off for who votes? Does the official relegation go through? So will it be the 3 who are going down, or will it be the 3 who are going up? Do we know? Will it be both?
Well, because it's in June, I'm guessing that they'll know who the promoted teams will be. So it must be because if you've been relegated for the Premier League and the Premier League have a meeting and you're knocking on the door going, hello, can we come in your meeting? You go, no, you're in the Championship. You actually can't come in here. But we want all the benefits. I think the only thing that may be quite interesting from aside from who may vote for it and who may not, is who may abstain. And if any clubs abstain and actually don't vote at all, it's pretty much the same as voting against it, I suppose, if it's the motion that wants to be put forward. But we will wait and see with that. I mean, if it goes through, we'll have to do an emergency podcast. But the England squad, Harry, is out today. Portugal actually announced theirs earlier as well. Neto, Sarr and Semedo all going to Germany for the Euros. I'm really surprised that Nunes didn't make the cut. That's hilarious. But also that Neto he's obviously seen his worth.
Yeah, I think Neto was always going to get picked. I know, like we said, he's been injured, but he's had such a good season. Obviously played against Liverpool. The Nunes one, I'll be honest, I'm not a bloody Portugal international team expert, but that did shock me that he didn't get in. Yeah. But it is funny, isn't it? That I know he's got a Premier League medal, but it is funny that he hasn't got in. And Semedo, Neto have. Toti Gomez didn't get in, did he? We were saying he got in the last squad, didn't he, for him? But unfortunately, he's missed out, which he might not be that far off if he carries on. England, I haven't looked at the full squad yet. I know we were talking about it earlier. I'm just happy the likes of Henderson and hasn't got in. I've got no complaints about Rashford not going. I'm glad Sterling hasn't been picked, to be honest. I'm starting to feel like he's picked it on form. But the one player who is absolutely disgusted is Gibbs White, putting out an Instagram post, laughing, thinking he should be in the England squad. If that don't prove how arrogant the kid is, I don't know what will. Look, he's a great player. But to think that you should be in the England squad playing for a Forest team that have scraped survival, although, like I said, he played really well, the arrogance is so funny. But he is a fantastic player, but just not a nice chap, is he? But
do you think
maybe in a few years, Gibbs White's son?
A little bit hard done by, because in the midfielders, and I know that he's got on sort of top and bottom heavy really with the 12 defenders and 12 forwards, I think, and then a couple of midfielders. Trent's down as a midfielder, fair enough. Well, he has been injured. Conor Gallagher, Curtis Jones at Liverpool, Kobbie Mainoo at Manchester United. Declan Rice at Arsenal, and Adam Wharton at Palace. I mean, Mainu and Wharton, very, very young players, not played much in the Premier League at all. Not really actually since the turn of the year. Do you think Gibbs White's got a point?
Damn, no, Gibbs White, he plays a bit more attacking, doesn't he? He's more like an attacking midfielder either side for the middle. If Sancho ain't getting in, Gibbs White definitely ain't. So, yeah.
Sancho is the one because of how he played in when in the Champions League. Yeah, he thought though he's put himself in contention now, but also remember this squad's going to be cut again in it. So I think he's named a couple of young players, but they'll be the ones who are in line for the chop probably. So
I'd have thought so. I'll just go through it very quickly. Dean Henderson at Palace. I won't actually do the teams. Jordan Pickford, Aaron Ramsdale, James Trafford. So 4 goalkeepers. I mean, you're going to drop one of those straight away. Branthwaite, Dunk, Gomez, Gahey, Konsa, Maguire, Quansah at Liverpool, Shaw, Stones, Trippier, Walker, Trent, Gallagher, Jones, Mainu, Rice, Wharton. I mean, this is incredible. Bellingham, Bowen, Eze, Foden, Grealish, Gordon, Kane, Maddison, Palmer, Saka, Tony, Watkins. I mean, it is frightening, isn't it, Harry?
Spoiled for choice. Spoiled for choice. That's why Gibbs White ain't getting in, just because that last bit you reeled off is just we are spoiled for choice. Sure, he has hardly played this season, has he? But
he's not played since February.
No.
So that's where we're weak in it.
That's also when we're struggling. Last had a clean sheet.
It's so funny because in years gone by, when you think back to when we were younger, the golden generations they call it, our defence and centre halves, we were sport for choice, weren't we? With Terry, Carragher, Sol Campbell, Rio Ferdinand, all these defenders, Ledley King. And now we're relying on Bloody Maguire. There is a few promising young ones coming through, but yeah. And all of a sudden, although we had good attackers back then, but the amount of forward-thinking wingers and attacking midfielders we've got, it's frightening. I mean, even having Watkins back up to Kane, it's really so good, isn't it? But yeah, I don't know. Hopefully we can do well, but we always got our hopes up, don't we? We always do.
I mean, I had a look at the betting earlier, and we are pre-tournament favourites. So we're going off favourites.
Are we favourites, are we?
Yeah, wow, I had a look on Paddy Power earlier. You're always a bit of a shorter price when you're betting in your own country, so that could be a factor. But we're fancied, and on paper, man, the only question marks are about the defence in it, really. So that's going to be the area where there's, I think it could be a bit difficult, but
we're it wouldn't matter if they can't get the ball off Foden. Is Elise? Yeah, I was wondering about that. Is he French? I mean, it's for me. I think France are favourites. They could probably potentially win it with their second 11. I think they are so strong, and Mbappe is such a talisman. And I wasn't really up for the hype around Mbappe until the World Cup final, and just okay, this guy's unbelievable. And then I think it solved the Messi Ronaldo debate for me with that game as well when you actually listen to the World Cup.
So just actually, this can be the betting news because we haven't got any this week. So yeah, with Paddy Power as of now, England favourites 3-1, France 7-2, Germany 5-1, Spain 15-2, Portugal 15-2. So there you go. You think the winner might be in that list? Ooh. But I mean, we've got a hell of a chance, haven't we? Let's be honest, on paper, and the group as well, favourable, isn't it? Really, we should be getting out of that. No danger. So
we've got a tactically I can't even say it. Tactically inept manager. I need to fit then.
That's not fair, is it? You can't say.
Well,
that. I mean,
against Italy in the final in the Euros, he completely got it wrong, and he didn't make substitutions early enough.
Yeah, he didn't know.
And he did the same against Croatia in the World Cup as well. I thought was that 2018.
He did the same against France. I mean, you put your house on Harry Kane scoring a fucking penalty, but
so
it is what it is.
You know what?
We've got the players.
I was going to argue again then, but I remember that he took Cody to bloody major tournament. So, oh shush.
But so it's Serbia, Denmark, and Slovenia who are in the group. I mean, there's potential banana skins there. I think. I mean, Serbia are no pushovers, never have been, but I think we're too much for them. Denmark obviously gave us a really good game the last Euros. Slovenia, I don't think will or anything at all. But I don't think it's at the easiest group.
If us and Denmark don't go through that group, I'll be shocked. To be honest, very shocked.
I'd agree with that. Is there a group of death? I can't
I
think.
think there's usually one. Yeah.
Oh, Spain, Croatia, Italy, Albania is potentially a group of death, I'd say. Poland, Netherlands, Austria, France. Yeah, don't know. Yeah, Poland, hot and cold a little bit. Ukraine, Romania, Slovakia, Belgium. Don't think so. Turkey, Georgia, Portugal, Czech Republic completes the tournament. Oh, sorry, so Germany, Scotland, Hungary, Switzerland in Group A. So, who do you think would go Group A? I mean, I'd have Germany to obviously go through and a host country as well. I mean,
Germany shit still though, because they weren't very good when we beat them in the last Euros, were they?
never
They've got
write
home
off the
advantage
Germans.
for one.
Yeah.
And no, they were third favourites on that list then that I just read out. So
Oh wow,
no.
yeah,
Yeah.
never write them off.
Oh, right. Excellent. We will leave it there for another week and also another season. So if you have been listening this season, thank you so much. If you've only just joined us, then go and listen to all of the episodes. It's your homework, and we will see you back here in August, and we will ask you questions on it. Otherwise, unless something incredible happens with a VAR vote that Wolves are put to the Premier League, then we will see you in August. Good luck if you are going to America. Thank you for listening to this season. It's a goodbye from Harry Mansell.
Yeah, just quickly, I'm playing Molyneux Friday, so I'm going to put a little link in. So if you can donate £1 to the Mind charity, it's for the Wolves Fancast, our friends. I am representing the Wolves 77 Club though, so you're going to donate, you two, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. Jack said he would donate £77.
Thank you, Jack. That will be appreciated.
Yeah, we'll be.
Put us the link in. Put us the link in WhatsApp.
5 o'clock Friday. I'm playing centre half, so I'm told, but my knee's in bits. So let's see how it goes.
What's happened to your knee?
I don't know. Right then, lads. See you in a bit.
We haven't got time. And it's a goodbye from Jack Williams.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Doing a sponsored silence or anything? Or?
No. I'm just got nothing planned really. I'm just going to sit here until August to the next one.
Okay. Yeah. No. Good shout. It's the most cost-effective way to live these days. And